Ancient Egypt not only holds countless fascinating things but also conceals many other impressive facts. Moreover, the weekdays of the ancient Egyptians were far more vibrant and bustling than we commonly imagine. Did you know this interesting fact? Queen Cleopatra was not actually Egyptian. It may look that way, but nowadays, factory workers often have to work overtime, at times to the point of overwork, while office workers frequently suffer from obesity. That's still not all. Ancient Egypt still holds countless fascinating and mysterious things that you certainly have never known about. So what facts about ancient Egypt still remain undiscovered mysteries? 25 most mysterious and shocking facts about ancient Egypt. Alongside the capable pharaohs, the beautiful Queen Cleopatra is always the image associated with tales of ancient Egypt. However, few people know that this powerful queen was not originally Egyptian. It is known that Cleopatra's family lineage was Macedonian Greek, with its founding ancestor being Ptolemy I Soter, one of the generals under Alexander the Great. After the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC, the Ptolemaic dynasty established and maintained Greek rule over Egypt for nearly 3 centuries. Although not of native Egyptian descent, Cleopatra inherited and continued many of the land's ancient traditions, and was the first member of the Ptolemaic dynasty to speak Egyptian. For over 2 centuries, the Egyptians fought against the Hittite Empire to gain control of the lands in what is now Syria. The conflict led to bloody battles, notably the Battle of Carrhae in 1274 BC. However, during the reign of Pharaoh Ramses II, the two sides remained deadlocked with neither able to gain a decisive victory. Both the Egyptians and the Hittites faced threats from other peoples. In 1259 BC, Egyptian Pharaoh Ramses II and Hittite Emperor Hattusili III negotiated and signed a peace treaty together. This agreement ended the conflict and established the principle that the two kingdoms would support each other in the event that either country is attacked. The Hittite-Egyptian Treaty is recognized as one of the oldest known peace agreements in the world. The ancient Egyptians often relaxed by playing board games. After a hard day's work on the Nin River, they created many games, and those games became extremely popular. Like the Myrnian game, Doc and Jack Khan, provisionally translated as Dog and Mongrel. However, the most famous and beloved game is likely Synod the Dog. Reportedly, Synod was a form of entertainment that existed as early as 3500 BC, and is typically played on a board with 30 drawn squares. Each turn, a player moves a group of pieces along the board, according to the result of the dice roll or the drawing of sticks. To this day, scientists remain baffled and continue to debate the rules of the game Synod. Currently, a painting is still preserved that depicts Queen Nefertari playing a game called Synod. Pharaohs like Tutankhamun even had Synod boards buried with them in their tombs. Akkad women hold power and enjoy a life of freedom. Unlike the fate of women in most other countries, women in Akkad enjoying numerous legal and financial privileges in society. Here, they have the right to buy and sell property and make wills, and can even proceed with signing various types of contracts. Women in Akkad typically do not participate in social activities outside the home. However, if they work, they will receive equal pay to men. Unlike ancient Greek women, who had to live under the control of their husbands. In Akkad, women have the right to initiate divorce and the right to own their dowries. In Akkad, even couples have prenuptial agreements. Like the present moment, these contracts listed all the assets and wealth that the woman brought into the marriage, and ensure that she will be compensated in the event of a divorce. Although the people of Ica worship the pharaoh as a living god, but the workers here do not hesitate to take to the streets in protest to demand a better working environment. In the 12th century BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Ramesses III, the workers involved in constructing the royal necropolis at Deir el-Medina went on strike. Due to not receiving their regular wages, this event was recorded as the first strike in history. To demand their rights, the workers gathered at a temple near their workplace and resolutely sat there until their demands were met. So, in the end, the workers finally received the wages they rightfully deserved. In works of art, the homeless in Akkad are often depicted with beauty and profound respect. But this is very difficult to achieve, my friends. In practice, the diet of the Akkad people, which consists primarily of beer, liquor, bread, and honey, has a very high sugar content. Furthermore, studies of the mummies also revealed that many pharaohs showed signs of being overweight and even suffered from diabetes. A prominent example is the legendary Queen Hatshepsut, who lived in the 15th century BC. King Tutankhamun died after being attacked by a hippopotamus. Very few people know about the life of King Tutankhamun, but historians share a common assessment of this famous king's death. The CT scan of the young king's body reveals that his mummy is missing its heart and part of the chest wall. This is a very significant difference compared to the ancient Akkad people's burial customs. This also means that this particular pharaoh must have endured an extremely painful injury before passing away. According to research by some Egyptology experts, it is highly likely that King Tutankhamun died from being bitten by a hippopotamus. Evidence suggests that the ancient Akkad people commonly hunted wild animals as a form of recreation. And the statues found in King Tut's tomb even depict him dodging a spear. If this pharaoh was truly passionate about adventurous hunting expeditions, it is highly likely that his death was caused by an accident during one such hunt. From ancient times, humans have possessed a desire for self-expression, and the ancient Akkad people were no exception. Both men and women in ancient Egypt had the custom of wearing very bold and vivid makeup. They believed this would bring protection from the god Horus and the god Ra, or the sacred deity in Akkad culture. Cone. The ancient people of Akkad used tools made of wood, bone, and ivory to apply these substances around the eye area. Meanwhile, the ancient women of Akkad would apply red rouge to their cheeks and use henna dye to color their fingers and hands. Both men and women of that era used a type of perfume made from oil, cinnamon, and a substance called me, which is still used in the pharmaceutical industry today. The people of Akkad believe that applying makeup in that manner grants them a miraculous healing ability. This is absolutely not a rumor, as scientific studies have shown that using mascara actually helps prevent eye infections. People in Akkad are very fond of keeping pets. The people of Akkad view animals as manifestations of deities, and they are also one of the earliest civilizations known to have kept pets in their homes. The people of Akkad are particularly fond of cats, as they are associated with the goddess Pate. But they also revered many other animals such as hawks, dogs, lions, and baboons. These animals all hold an important place in the lives of the people of Akkad. After death, they were often mummified and buried alongside their owners. Other creatures are specially trained to perform specific tasks in order to support humans. For example, those tasked with security duties during this period. People often use dogs, and even trained monkeys, to assist in patrol work. The construction of the pyramids is often mistakenly believed by many to have been carried out by slaves. But the reality was completely different. Building a massive pyramid, one that could endure for thousands of years, was by no means an easy feat. Based on scientific research, the majority of the pyramid builders were skilled artisans and salaried workers. In the past, it was once believed that enslaved people were the primary workforce who endured countless lashings during the construction of the Egyptian pyramids. However, most modern scholars do not agree with this view. Historical evidence shows that the ancient Akkad people held no prejudice or animosity toward the slave class. Mostly, they used slaves for domestic chores and household service. The ancient Aikar people always held a particular fascination with the afterlife. They believed that after death, the deceased continue another life and still require all the items they possessed in their lifetime. For those in high positions in society, their tombs were not only decorated like actual houses, but were also fully equipped with numerous objects and utensils. Just as when they were alive, such as makeup, food and drink, and everyday items. And even beloved strokes of luck or blossoming smiles. According to Herodotus, a Greek historian who lived around the 5th century BC, at Akkad Kodai, men often attract women's attention by whistling. Herodotus recounted that, on their way to attend a sacred ceremony at a temple, the men. But when they see females, the peacocks will fan out their vibrant plumage and perform an elegant dance to attract a mate. However, that strange action was not punished, and that is precisely what makes it interesting. This kind of stuff only belonged in the Akkad Dark Ages. In modern times like these, acting this way would probably land you in a mental institution. Just a heads up, everyone. Use deodorant. Due to the hot weather combined with strenuous manual labor, many residents of ancient Ica have developed unpleasant body odor. However, thousands of years ago, they adopted two special methods to deal with this situation. The Akab-Ko-Dai people often shave their heads bald, as they believe the hair on their head emits an unpleasant odor. Meanwhile, the second method uses a deodorant with diverse ingredients, like pine needles, cinnamon, citrus, various flowers, and even ostrich eggs. Then, they shaped them into balls and hid them under their arms. Medicinal herbs with such a potent aroma like these can help mask body odor for a certain period of time. The urge to urinate strengthens the teeth. The first person to invent toothpaste for oral hygiene was Akab. Ancient toothpaste was completely different from the kind we use today. They are essentially just a mixture of pumice, a very light and porous volcanic rock, vinegar, and wine. The Lam-A people imported urine from Portugal for use. It is believed that the urine of Portuguese-bred horses has better medicinal properties than that of Lam-A-bred horses. Urine contains ammonia, a cleaning agent also found in toothpaste of that era. But the wealthy in Lam-A are willing to pay money to buy this Portuguese urine for use in brushing their teeth. Later, with the fall of the Roman Empire, their methods of oral hygiene also gradually fell into decline. The traditional attire of Akab women is called kalashirath, a form-fitting dress held up by one or two straps. This dress is designed to highlight a woman's alluring shoulders. It wasn't just for maids, working-class women, or female secretaries. Even upper-class ladies and madams used it. Indeed, even goddesses like Nefertari wore the kalasiras. The people of Ica believe that it was Osirith, a deity who rules the underworld, who taught them the method of brewing beer. Production. The ancient gourd might surprise modern people with its flavor, which is as thick as milk, simultaneously sour with a hint of bitterness. And it completely quenched their thirst, as you can see in the picture. The people of Akab are forced to use straws to drink, in order to avoid swallowing the corn kernels used in the beer brewing process. Beer and bread were used to pay the physicians, officials, and the pyramid builders. Even the kings of Akab had a written commitment upon marriage, that each day they would give their wives 10 loaves of bread and 2 jugs of beer. The people of Akab primarily go barefoot, even when clearing the fields is no exception. They had a special servant whose sole duty was to bring the king his shoes. Sometimes, the soles of nobles' shoes were even decorated with the faces or names of their enemies, so they could tread on them daily as a form of revenge. Footwear is believed to be something a person will need in the afterlife. That is why in tombs, a special place is always reserved for the sandals, placed beside the remains of the deceased. Hurdle runners' shoes are usually made of leather. However, in reality, achieving this is extremely difficult, even for just a few steps in the production process of these renowned shoes. The decree is urgent and must be submitted to the council for review. Anyone, whether living or deceased, wishing to enter France must complete a sole visa application. For this strange reason, in 1974, the Egyptian government had to issue a passport for King Ramesses II. The 19th dynasty, the third pharaoh, Ramesses the Great, reigned from 1279 to 1213 BC. He is recognized as one of the most powerful and celebrated pharaoh in the history of ancient Akab. Specifically, after the X-ray was completed, the mummy of this great pharaoh was transferred to France for examination and restoration. When the plane carrying the mummy of Pharaoh Ramesses II landed at the airport, he was received with the most solemn ceremonial protocol reserved for a sovereign. And after completing the process of inspection, analysis, and handling, the mummy of Pharaoh Ramesses II was flown back to Egypt. The legally certified mummy of the first pharaoh of Egypt is currently preserved at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. Belief in the afterlife is the conviction in a continued existence after the physical body dies. It is a vital part of many belief systems and religions, providing meaning, hope for eternal justice, and guiding people toward a better way of life. This belief is often expressed through funeral rites, ancestor worship, and doctrines concerning heaven, hell, or rebirth. The book that clearly expresses the beliefs and conceptions of the ancient Egyptians about the afterlife is the Book of the Dead, also known as the Book of Coming Forth by Day. This book chronicles the joys and sorrows of superheroes. Help the soul be liberated and continue life in the eternal realm. They view death as merely a temporary transition, not the end of life. The people of Akab always revere their gods, both in life and after death. They performed mummification with the belief that the soul would be able to return to the body, bringing with it breath and life. The afterlife requires an extremely elaborate and meticulous embalming process. Based on the common context, the original passage seems incomplete. Here are some more natural and clear rewrites, assuming the intended meaning is that pyramid construction was a complex and elaborate process. They prepared ample supplies, food, and drink for their journey to the afterlife, including the construction of large-scale tombs. Particularly, the processing stages for vegetables require a significant amount of effort and resources. To build such magnificent and sophisticated pyramids even during their own lifetime. Beyond the tale of revenge, the curse of the pharaohs is also a famous part of it. The ancient Egyptians were also renowned for their ingenious techniques in preparing anesthetics. They invented numerous methods for crafting opium, which were thoroughly documented in ancient texts. To make someone love you forever is something beyond anyone's control. They concocted a special mixture and then mixed it into water for their opponent to drink. Instantly, the other person will be enchanted and devoted to them for life. And there are all kinds of toxic relationships, from the kind so intoxicating it feels as if the two had met in a past life. Even love becomes a chain that binds people. Beyond tales, the ancient Egyptians also possessed a rich treasury of love poetry, composed for a variety of purposes. Designed with inspiration from unique icons and patterns, doves not only bring love to lonely hearts, but also grant complete happiness to couples in love. That relationship could even lead to a breakup. Moreover, these charms are also believed to have the power to predict the future or cure serious illnesses. The servants would be buried alive alongside their masters. Many believe that after escaping a life of slavery, their souls will return to their homeland. His servants were also compelled to accept this fate to continue serving him in the afterlife. However, in reality, only the first two alpha monkeys exhibited empathetic behavior toward this pain. After that, the guards stopped burying the servants alive. Instead, people used small, symbolic statues. These statues would then become loyal companions, protecting the pharaoh on his journey to the afterlife. Not only did they have servants, the ancient Egyptians also prepared all the necessary provisions. Daily necessities like food, drink, and clothing were used to evade and break through the barricades. It is believed that these items would be used in the afterlife. They hope that life on Mars can be sustained. An interesting fact in the history of ancient Egyptian medicine is their method of using wheat to test for pregnancy. They noticed that pregnant women are often very sensitive to smells, particularly to strongly aromatic foods. Therefore, they combined beer with tea extract. And pregnant women will use this mixture to test for pregnancy based on its vomit-inducing properties. Another related method involves the use of wheat and barley. The practice of testing for pregnancy by soaking a test strip in a woman's urine for several days is a method of examination. If the barley grain sprouts, it is considered a sign that the mother is expecting a baby boy. And if the rice grain sprouts, it is considered a sign that the mother is expecting a baby girl. This testing method sometimes also has inaccuracies. However, that method was very effective at the time, especially when there were no quick and convenient pregnancy tests like today. The construction of the Egyptian pyramids stands as one of the greatest architectural and engineering achievements of ancient humanity. The pyramid is one of the masterpieces of architecture, an invaluable heritage for human history. Hidden behind it are secrets that are utterly mesmerizing, dark, and incredibly captivating. The final resting place after departing this world. The pyramid is the museum that holds the secrets of ancient Egyptian civilization. Currently, over 130 pyramids have been discovered in Akkad. This magnificent structure was built from massive natural stone blocks, each weighing tens of tons, carved into perfectly uniform square blocks. A great mystery to this day remains a formidable puzzle, leaving researchers scratching their heads for an answer. How did the ancient Egyptians transport and assemble the heavy stone blocks to the construction site? Then, combine everything together. Various hypotheses have been proposed. However, the precise answer to this problem remains, to this day, an unsolved mystery. The horrific fate of cross-border smuggling attempts. Facing the horrific fate of actually breaching the fence was truly one of the most haunting experiences. For the deeply enigmatic tales of the Great Akkad, Belief in the power of the curse began to spread and take root in 1922. The discovery of King Tutankhamun's tomb in the Valley of the Kings discovered the wonders of the ancient world, but it also led to a series of mysterious and dark deaths of those involved. It is rumored to be a divine punishment for those who dared to disturb his 1,000-year slumber. Specifically, the utterly bizarre combination of the victims' deaths and the curse engraved in the pharaoh tomb, even the sinking of the Titanic, one of the most shocking global tragedies. There is also a hypothesis that this incident is related to that magical curse. Although numerous scientific explanations have been offered for the curse, the dark tale of the pharaoh curse has always been something to be wary of, stifling the curiosity to learn more. For those who wish to explore more about ancient Egypt, one hypothesis explaining the pyramids' marvel suggests that these structures might have been